Hello, today we're going to go over the HBI Industries Zhukov stock adapter for the CZ Scorpion Evo. We manufacture and sell the adapter in two different variations. The first is complete with a black Zhukov stock. So if purchasing this option, you're going to receive the Magpul Zhukov stock in the adapter block ready to go onto an Evo. The other option that we offer is just the adapter block. This would be useful for colors other than black. So if you are looking for FDE, gray, the OD green Evo bodies, that would be a good reason to go with just the adapter block. Another might be if you have an existing or like a leftover Zhukov stock from another AK project that you'd like to reuse and save a few dollars that way. You don't have to buy the whole assembly, you can just buy the adapter. So in this video, we'll go ahead and go over the installation of the stock onto the Evo, but more specifically, we're going to cover how to take a Magpul stock and fit it to our adapter block. So let's go ahead and do the installation of the complete stock onto an Evo first. It is literally just drop in or drop on installation. So we'll use a pistol here. It's kind of check it real quick. So make sure it's empty, no magazine. This pistol just has the factory back cap on it. So what we're going to do is remove the back cap and install the HBI Zhukov stock adapter in stock. The process is going to be the same whether it's this end plate or if you have a factory folding stock on there. Both of them are going to have the same removal procedure. So let's go ahead and throw the upper receiver in a vise. You can do it on a table or just by hand, but I think for the purpose of the video, so I don't look ridiculous, I'm going to hold it with the vise. The nice thing about the rear dovetail on the Evo is you don't need to remove the rear sight. So go ahead and leave the rear sight on. You can leave the grip in place. Just go ahead and fixture your upper receiver. And again, that can be held on by hand on the table. You don't need a vise, but it does help. The only tool you'll need is going to be a 5/32 punch and a soft mallet, either rubber mallet or this is a Delrin hammer. The punch is only going to be used to depress the retaining button that's on the back of the receiver. So go ahead and go through the access hole in your end plate, and as you push on the punch, you can feel the spring pressure pushing back. So we want to depress there's a retaining button inside the end cap, and then tap down with the soft rubber mallet, and then just remove the end plate. After the end plate starts to move, you can actually take the punch out. The end plate itself, or the stock, if it's a stock, it's going to be the back plate on the stock, is going to retain or going to kind of hold the button in place, and you can slide the cap off. So if you were removing a stock, you'd go through this access hole. In our case, we're just removing the end cap, and so we're going through this access hole here to depress the button. Installation is the reverse. So if you're to install a new stock, it's the reverse. You can see the access hole here in the middle of our stock adapter. It's going to capture the detent on the back of the receiver. I'm going to go ahead and flip the firearm around. It'll be easier to kind of push down versus pulling up on it. So just flip it around real quick. And we'll drop the stock assembly on. It should kind of start down on its own, but it'll get tight. So when it comes up against your detent button, go ahead and hold your detent button in and kind of slide your stock adapter down more. You're going to run out by hand of kind of how far you can push on it. Our stock adapter is designed to press fit onto the dovetails of the receiver, just like the factory parts that you took off. There's no set screws and no fitting required. It's going to damage or mark up your upper receiver. So it's just going to press fit up at the top with the dovetail. So if you do need to, go ahead and use your rubber mallet again, and we'll tap it down into place. We'll know the receiver, or we'll know the stock adapter is in place when the detent button clicks in. So maybe a couple more. There. Yep. So now with the detent in place, stock adapter is locked on, and kind of good to go. Again, it's pretty straightforward. There's, I don't know, not a lot to go wrong, not a lot of moving parts or anything. So with the stock adapter in place, you're good to go. So we'll go ahead and cover the version now where we're going to just install, we'll call, I guess, the adapter only, or the trunnion, the stock adapter only for the Zhukov stock. So when you order this, what you'll receive is the machined adapter and then 2 pieces of hardware. We're going to have a screw and a spring. We'll go over that here in a minute on what those are for. So let's briefly set those aside over here. And we're going to need a stock. So again, you can use any color of the Magpul Zhukov-S stock. You can also use the standard or the Yugo version. What we're going to do, so with your stock, what we're going to do is remove the AK type mounting trunnion that's on the front and replace it with the Evo, the machined Evo Zhukov adapter that we make. And to do that, all we're going to need to do is remove the hinge or the rivet here that's holding the hinge together. And there's a couple detents that hold the stock in place right when it's locked to the side. So there's a couple things to remove. It's really straightforward. So we'll start by doing the solid rivet. To remove it, what we're going to use is just a standard 3/16 drill bit and a hand drill. The solid rivet is kind of swaged or affixed at the bottom such that the drill bit is going to self-center just by the way of manufacturing. So when the solid rivet's installed, there's a nice dome on the bottom of it that we can kind of self-center the drill bit in and drill through it. When we drill, we don't need to go all the way through. All we need to do is break the head of the rivet off. So we'll probably kind of come down maybe like 1/4 inch into this pocket. You can see when you kind of fold the stock adapter that it's 2 pieces, the front trunnion and the stock. And so the hinge on the stock we don't want to damage when we do the drilling. But again, you can kind of see when we come up from the bottom, we have at least 3/8, maybe a 1/2 inch of depth we can go before we start to get into the stock. So moral of the story on that one is a 1/2 inch deep is going to be way too much. You just need to break the head of the rivet off and then we'll punch it out from there. So maybe a 1/4 inch down into the pocket of the rivet will be more than enough to break the head and give us the ability to remove it. So we're going to hold the stock in the vise using neoprene soft jaws. Again, obviously don't clamp your polymer parts in a steel vise. Would not be good. So hand drill, 3/16 drill bit, and just from the top of the rivet, we're going to drill down about 1/4 inch just to get the head of the rivet off. And we'll use the same 5/32 punch that we used to take the rear plate off of the factory receiver. So 5/32 punch. You could use an 1/8 inch punch if you'd like, or if you don't have access to a 5/32. And what we're going to do is punch out the rivet. Before we do that, kind of try to show what we did there. The stock is still going to be able to be manipulated. The hinge or the pin is still in place, but we drilled the head off of the rivet so we can now punch out the bottom. So we'll put it back in the vise. And using just a hammer and again a 5/32 punch, let's drive the rivet out and from top to bottom. I like to put my hand beneath it so I can kind of catch the rivet when it comes out the bottom. There's our removed rivet. I'm going to set it up here. What I like to do now is open the hinge of the vise. What I like to do now, we're gonna take the detents out. So what I find helpful is if you can open the stock up a little bit, and we're using the shank or the shaft of the punch to kind of replace the rivet that we took out. So we can still bend and manipulate the stock as we did before. And what that's going to allow you to do is get fingers, or if you want, you can put the whole assembly into a bag and pull it apart. But the 2 detents are spring loaded, so we want to use our fingers kind of to capture the two. There's a detent top and bottom on the stock itself. So we're going to use our fingers to kind of capture those. And when we remove our punch and pull the AK trunnion off the front of the stock, the spring's not going to go flying, we're not going to lose our detent. So again, kind of use your fingers to retain the two detents, they are spring loaded, and rock the AK type trunnion off of your stock. We'll set it aside, and you can see now we've got the two top and bottom detents in the stock. So let's remove those components. There's a spring. Stuck. Remove the top detent. And the stock is completely disassembled at this point. So you can probably see what we're about to do. We're going to use our HBI components to retrofit the Magpul Zhukov stock. So we can completely discard the AK type trunnion. So again, if you bought a Yugo style Zhukov stock, you can discard that trunnion. This is a standard AK trunnion, discard it. And also discard the solid rivet and your spring. These components will be replaced with the HBI Evo adapter block and the two pieces of hardware that you received with it, which were the spring and our pivot screw. So now we just need to reassemble these components. It is extremely straightforward. The one thing I guess to mention before you turn the video off is that if you're going to use thread lock or epoxy or anything on the screw to kind of permanently hold it in place, we recommend that you apply that compound to the stock adapter, so to the trunnion adapter, the machine trunnion adapter, and not to the screw, because when we reassemble it inside the screw through the stock, any epoxy or thread lock that's on the threads can get caught inside of our pivot hole in the stock and bind it up, and over time or even immediately make it feel real grungy. So we'll go ahead and do it on this one. You can use red Lockset if you like, or Rockset, or any type of thread epoxy. And so again, we're going to apply the thread lock to the threads in the machine part. We'll kind of go on the top up here. And the purpose, again, is so that we're not putting it on the screw and letting the screw fall through the stock assembly and potentially gumming up or making it more difficult to pivot in the future. So again, optional if you want to use thread locker. Now is the time to use it. We'll go ahead and put our stock back together. So we'll put the spring between our two detents, and this spring is going to have more preload than the original Magpul spring, but a lighter rate. And what that's going to allow us to do is keep a very solid retaining force on the detents without damaging any of the components. The factory part, the Magpul part that we just discarded, was plastic. This is a machined adapter block, and we actually get better retention with our spring in our adapter block than with the Magpul spring. You can reuse the Magpul spring, but we recommend using the newer spring. So let's insert the detent, and the detent's only go into the stock one way. The little tabs on the detent point towards the firearm or towards the front of the stock. So go ahead and put your two detents in place. We'll slide the detents and the stock into the adapter block and drop our screw in. And again, this is where if you put a bunch of stuff on the threads of the screw, it's going to end up all over the inside of your hinge, your pivot point. So with that in place, grab a 9/64 Allen key and go ahead and tighten down your pivot bolt. You will notice, I guess, as you start to tighten down your pivot bolt or pivot screw, that there is going to be an ability to over-tighten it. So if you torque this down as hard as you can, as much as you can tighten it, there's a good chance the stock is going to want to bind up and become pinched between the top and bottom of the stock adapter. So what we like to do is kind of get it snug, kind of get the screw snug, and then start operating the joint. You can kind of lift up and down, twist it, and go till it feels good to you. You're not going to strip the threads out, but you can over tighten it. So I kind of like it here, where the stock is moving freely, but there's no play in it, and you're essentially done with the installation at this point. So let's go ahead and, well, we don't need to reinstall it. That is the installation. So now we just created a new Zhukov stock assembly with our block and out of the box Zhukov stock. That is, I guess, that was the point of what we're going to show you today. If you have any questions or need any additional help on this, please feel free to reach out to us, emails, phone call. You can contact us on social media, Facebook, Instagram. We're always here to help. Thank you very much for watching this video today. And again, if you have questions or need any other additional information, please just let us know. Thanks.